On this episode of Cape Media News, a vehicle crash at a Dennis movie theater, an interview with Winnie the police comfort dog, and an update on Holtec's plans to dump radioactive wastewater into Cape Cod Bay. These stories and more tonight on Cape Media News. Good evening and welcome to Cape Media News, your source for hyperlocal news that matters. I'm Mitch Sock. The Barnstable Land Trust is celebrating its 40th anniversary with two exciting events this season. First, they are launching their second annual Words in the Wild program on Earth Day, April 22nd. This unique event features 4 local poets whose site-specific poems have been etched on cedar plank trail signs at 4 different Barnstable Land Trust properties. The trail signs also include a QR code providing audio recordings and more information about each poet. In addition to the Words in the Wild program, 2 free art and nature poetry workshops will be held on Earth Day, April 22nd, and May 6th. These workshops are supported by grants from the Mid-Cape Cultural Council and the Arts Foundation of Cape Cod. The free art and nature poetry workshops require pre-registration and will be held at the Barnstable Land Trust Conservation Center and the Kentuit Library. In celebration of National Volunteer Week, Barnstable Land Trust also invites you to attend one of their 2 upcoming volunteer open houses. These events offer a chance to explore a variety of volunteer opportunities with this dynamic community nonprofit. The first open house will be held on Thursday, April 20th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Barnstable Land Trust Conservation Center, located at 1540 Main Street in West Barnstable. The second open house will take place on Saturday, May 6th from 1 to 3 at the Michael R. Kramer Center, located at 995 Route 149 in Marston's Mills. These open houses are free to attend and will feature information about land stewardship, community outreach and events, outdoor programs, and membership opportunities. Light refreshments will be available and no registration is required. This event is supported in part by a grant from the Massachusetts Service Alliance, a nonprofit organization dedicated to expanding volunteerism and service across the state. Executive Director of the Barnstable Land Trust, Janet Milkman, expressed her enthusiasm for these programs, saying, "Earth Day is a perfect time to get outdoors, be inspired by the powerful words of local poets and the beauty of our natural spaces." For more information on Words in the Wild 2023, individual poems, recorded readings, and event information, or to learn more about the volunteer open houses and the Barnstable Land Trust, be sure to visit their website at blt.org. The Barnstable County Home Consortium has prepared its draft annual action plan for program year 2023. The plan outlines funding priorities and serves as the strategic and planning documents for Barnstable County's home program, which is funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. An in-person public meeting on the draft plan will be held Monday, April 24th at 3 p.m. in the Innovation Conference Room at the Barnstable County Complex. The purpose of the meeting is to obtain oral and/or written comment from the public on the plan. The plan is available for review online. Requests for hard copies of the plan should be directed to Rennie Hammond. Written comments on the plan should be sent to Barnstable County Department of Human Services, P.O. Box 427, Barnstable, Massachusetts 02630, or emailed through May 11th. Comments will be summarized and included in the final plan submitted to HUD. A Harwich resident is taking a stand to protect the environment. Patrick Otten, a local environmentalist, has proposed 2 petitions aimed at regulating the use of fertilizers and prohibiting balloons. Take a look.
Local Harwich resident Patrick Otten is hoping to make a difference in his community by proposing 2 petitions at the upcoming Harwich Town Meeting on May 1st. Otten is an avid environmentalist who cares deeply about the health of Cape Cod's delicate ecosystem.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Just why do you live on Cape Cod? Why do 5 million people sit in their cars every summer, 3, 4, 5 hours just to come to Cape Cod? For our restaurants and shopping? Well, perhaps. But they have all that at home. No, they come here and we are here because of our water, our fresh water and salt water, our 22 ponds and 11 miles of coastline.
The first petition that Otten has proposed is aimed at regulating the use of fertilizers.
In addition to septic systems, fertilizers, and runoff, they're all contributing pollutants to our ponds and to the seashore waters. So it's important not only that we address sewering, which in an estimated cost in the next 50 years is $4 billion. We can also take action in eliminating contaminants by regulating fertilizers. We are so different here on the Cape with our sandy soils that we need special terms and conditions to monitoring what's happening to our fresh ponds and saltwater. There's going to be a lot of pushback. A lot of people complain, but already Nantucket has passed this. Orleans passed it in the fall. So I've simply copied their bylaws word for word and have introduced it now to Harwich to put it on Harwich's agenda, okay?
The second petition that Otten has proposed is to prohibit the use of balloons.
The second petition deals with balloons, those lighter than air, often helium-filled mylar balloons, those colorful, playful balloons. They're a hazard to wildlife, okay? We see them in the trees, we see them on the seashores, we see turtles tangled in them, birds tangled in them. So this second petition is about prohibiting the sale. You can no longer sell them. You can no longer use them. You can no longer distribute them, okay, within the town of Harwich. And that's because of their huge impact on the environment and wildlife here. So the idea is to have Lower Cape free of balloons, no more balloons.
Despite facing a lack of support from the local government, Otten remains optimistic that the citizens of Harwich will vote in favor of these petitions.
I just don't see this as enforceable.
I may miss a lot of parties, but how many balloons do you think we use in Harwich? I don't see them that as being a large number to raise a concern.
He believes that by working together, the community can make a real difference in protecting the environment and preserving the natural beauty of Cape Cod.
Coming up after the break, a vehicle crash at Entertainment Cinemas. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Jill Goldsmith, Chatham's town manager. Come join Team Chatham. Chatham is a world-famous coastal town with a true sense of community. It is also a great place to work. The town of Chatham has several open positions and is currently accepting applications from highly motivated, community-oriented individuals who want to be a part of our dynamic team. Check the town website for full job descriptions and information regarding the skills required to be a top candidate. Become a member of Team Chatham and enjoy competitive wages, benefits, and an inclusive team atmosphere that welcomes diversity. A complete listing of employment opportunities can be found on the town website.
A driver crashed his car into Entertainment Cinemas on Easter Sunday, temporarily closing the theater as repairs and inspections are made. Here's Christian Garnett with the story.
I'm here at Entertainment Cinemas in South Dennis, where a man crashed into the south side of the lobby on Easter Sunday, April 9th. The Dennis Police Department posted these pictures of the damage to their Facebook page, but as you can see, the repairs have already begun. Cape Media News reached out to the owner of Entertainment Cinemas, Bill Haney, for the full story, and we learned that the unknown man purportedly suffered a seizure while driving his car, then rammed the vehicle into the south end of Entertainment Cinemas lobby during business hours. The man was able to back the car out of the building and park it before being rushed to a hospital by ambulance. Nobody within the building was harmed. On top of the repairs required because of the crash, Entertainment Cinemas is also currently undergoing a renovation to add newer, more comfortable reclining chairs to each of their screening rooms. When I spoke with Bill Haney, owner of Entertainment Cinemas, he claimed that all of the repairs and the renovations would be complete by the end of May. So many people will be able to enjoy the cinema-going experience once more. I'm Christian Garnett, and this is Cape Media News.
After months of planning and upgrades to equipment, the town of Barnstable's government access Channel 18 can now be accessed by Comcast subscribers in the town of Barnstable on HD Channel 1072. With this change, any Comcast subscriber in the town can now watch all town programming 24/7 in high definition. This change provides a better viewing opportunity with a clearer picture, cleaner graphics, and improved audio. Closed captioning is now available for all meetings that are airing live on either the town's standard definition channel 18 or HD channel 1072. In addition to closed captioning on live meetings, closed captioning is available on all of the videos on the Town of Barnstable Channel 18 YouTube channel. Upgrades have been made in the James H. Crocker Jr. hearing room at Town Hall to provide improved hearing assistance devices to those who may need it. All of these upgrades are intended to provide a better viewing and listening experience for all residents in the town of Barnstable. The Dennis Police Department spoke to Cape Media News this week about Winnie, the 3-year-old black lab whose exceptional skills as a comfort dog have already made a positive impact on the community. Here's Christian Garnett with more from the DPD.
Winnie is the youngest member of the Dennis Police Department at only 3 years old, but her work is invaluable in our community. I was able to meet with her and her partner, Kathleen Keating, at the DPD to discuss Winnie's role in the department.
Winnie is the Dennis Police Department's Comfort Canine. She and I are partners. We are the comfort team for the Dennis Police Department, and her function here is to go out to the community and provide services at the schools, at court, and also within the police department itself. So in August of 2020, Winnie joined our family. We went for training at Professional Canine Services in Middleborough and learned basic obedience and some other training techniques, and here we are. So we did that in September of 2022. We kind of did things backwards, but she's adapted quite well to everything, and I think has really done a great job. And luckily, a lot of the training is based on food as a reward, and Winnie is very food motivated.
And how is Winnie utilized by the Dennis Police Department?
Comfort dogs in general are very useful. There's studies that show that actually patting a dog lowers cortisol levels, which decreases stress in humans. And that is exactly Winnie's main function. I know I can speak for myself that on very stressful days, you might find me patting her. She seems to know when you need a pat. I don't know how. I think it's just coincidental, but she does. We were going to court one day, and I happened to see somebody sitting in a car, one of the court employees, and she was having some type of medical episode, and Winnie went right over, and immediately, after 5 minutes, the lady's disposition changed and her breathing slowed down, and she said that she felt 100% better, and credits Winnie for saving her life. And on Cape Cod, I think they can just be used anywhere. They're great tools. We use Winnie down at court. She sat with some victims who are applying for restraining orders at the courthouse, and she's just sat with them in the hallway to keep them company, to keep their stress levels low. We also go into the schools. About once a week, we try to go to Ezra Baker and the intermediate school. We visit a few classrooms at a time. We participated in the community reading program last week. She just loves to go in. She loves people. She loves to get pet. The kids seem to get a real kick out of it.
And how about fundraising?
So right now, our fundraising to support our Comfort Dog program here at the Dennis Police Department, we are currently selling canine Comfort Dog patches. All proceeds, once we recoup the money from the initial cost, will go to purchase items to hand out to the students. Right now we hand out trading cards. We have stuffed animal Winnies that were donated by a company called Demdeco. And I'd also like to set up our program as a nonprofit, so that would be what some of the money would go to as well. Right now we rely on donations. We are lucky enough to have some local businesses support our program. Dennis Veterinary Hospital, Dr. Neese is providing free basic care for Winnie, and Hot Diggity has supplied her food. So it's really been a great community effort, and it's been a real lot of fun to get this program up and running. Winnie has a social media presence. She has her own Facebook and her own Instagram account. Facebook is DPD space Winnie, and Instagram is all lowercase DPD_Winnie. You can follow us on the social media, and you can also purchase a patch by contacting myself, Kathleen Keating, at the Dennis Police Department. You can walk into the station. We have some at dispatch. You just tell the dispatcher that you're looking to purchase a patch. They're $10 a piece. We just really appreciate the support.
As a new friend of Winnie, I look forward to following all of her adventures on social media and seeing the positive impact she continues to have on our community. I'm Christian Garnett, and this is Cape Media News.
Coming up after the break, a look at the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station decommission. Stay tuned.
We are tied to the ocean. And when we go back to the sea, whether it is to sail or to watch it, we are going back from whence we came.
John F. Kennedy's legacy comes alive at the JFK Hyannis Museum. Step into the unforgettable summer White House days of the 1960s when a beloved president and his family brought joy and hope to a nation. This summer, visit the JFK Hyannis Museum to see one-of-a-kind exhibits, including Presidential Summers, the Kennedys on Cape Cod, John F. Kennedy's Rocking Chair, and RFK, Ripple of Hope. Visit jfkhyannismuseum.org to learn more, buy tickets, or become a member.
In the fall of 2019, the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station in Plymouth was purchased by Holtec Decommissioning International for the purpose of decommissioning the site. The purchase of the site included access to a trust fund of over $1 billion to cover Holtec's expenses. These funds come from nearly 3 decades of payments made by customers of Boston Edison for the purpose of decommissioning. The reported price that Holtec paid for the site and the included trust fund was around $1,000. So who is Holtec?
Welcome to Holtec International, a world leader in engineering, design, and custom manufactured equipment to the energy industry and beyond. Founded in 1986, Holtec has expanded globally with operation centers around the world. Holtec's 4 manufacturing plants use state-of-the-art fabrication and automation tools to create cutting-edge technology and innovative equipment. This long-standing experience in spent fuel management has now positioned Holtec as a premier leader in decommissioning of shuttered nuclear power plants. Holtec innovation continues to evolve with the design of its SMR-160 small modular reactor, the licensing of the High-Store Consolidated Interim Storage Facility in southeastern New Mexico, a safe, secure, retrievable, temporary storage solution. With innovation that knows no limits and technology that continually evolves, it is clear why we say, Holtec International, a generation ahead by design.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Holtec is an international company that has so much money that they can run roughshod over communities and get away with it. They're doing that in New Mexico. They're doing that at Oyster Creek. In fact, in Oyster Creek in New Jersey at their reactor, they dumped water from their spent fuel pool into Barnegat Bay while oyster farmers were seeding their areas and did not tell them. They're planning to dump. They bought Indian Point on the Hudson River just north of New York City. They're planning to dump that water, which is drinking water, for 100,000 people. And the Environmental Protection Agency has said the maximum contaminant level for radionuclides in drinking water should be 0.
In December of 2021, Holtec made it known that they intended to dump 1.1 million gallons of radioactive wastewater into Cape Cod Bay.
This is the back and forth word game that Holtec is doing with the Environmental Protection Agency, with Senator Markey, and with us. Senator Markey, Senator Warren, and Representative Keating told Holtec on January 12, 2022, you're not dumping in the bay. On February 17, 2022, the EPA said any such discharge is strictly prohibited. What does Holtec say? It is within the plain language of the NIPD's permit and is consistent with the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding and Past Discharges. They're saying we're doing it. June 17th, the EPA said Holtec is not authorized under the current permit to discharge pollutants in the spent fuel pool water. July 7th, EPA tells them again, you cannot, because Holtec said that they could discharge treated water, that it complies with the permit, EPA had to tell them again, no it doesn't and you can't dump. November 17th, Holtec says, we expect to be using treated water release as part of our plan. November 28th, Holtec, David Noyes, The senior compliance manager of Holtec said the company believes it is already legally allowed to dump the water. When asked if there would be no discharge prior to the resolution of the permit issue, he said, "I can't say that." This is almost a whole year now of this back and forth. And then on December, Holtec said all the water volumes will be independently processed and then combined for a single water volume for final processing treatment prior to discharge. What don't they get?
In the most recent Nuclear Decommissioned Citizens Advisory Panel meeting, representatives from Holtec listened to questions from the community.
I started a petition on change.org asking Holtec CEO Krishna P. Singh to please retract his plan to dump 1.1 million gallons of radioactive water into Cape Cod Bay. Tonight I have chosen to present to Holtec a portion of those signatures, as many as I could fit into this binder. In closing, I'd like to mention that on the Holtec website, it is stated that Holtec is, and I quote, "a learning organization, forever striving for a higher standard of excellence." CEO Krishna, if you happen to be listening, then I'd like you to know that I personally feel that right now is a wonderful opportunity for you to demonstrate this higher standard of excellence by acquiescing to our collective wishes as a community and agreeing to no longer consider dumping this water into our beloved Cape Cod Bay.
Question number one, what is your plan of date to take down that spent fuel pool building?
Current plan has reactor building demolition from 2025 through 2027.
Okay. And what will you do if it would take more than 12 months for a NPDES permit to be issued?
It may have an impact on the decommissioning schedule, which would have an impact on dismantling that building.
And that's understandable. So will Holtec abide by that timeline? That's the yes or no.
We will not discharge without a permit.
Okay. 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 And according to Governor Healy, it's not allowed in the state of Massachusetts. So we're expecting our state officials to uphold those laws. Thank you.
So that should settle it, right? Holtec won't dump without a new permit, and a new permit won't be approved because the dumping of radioactive wastewater is illegal.
Holtec is about the money, the decommissioning trust fund. They want to leave town with that money. Doesn't matter what they do. They'll dump in our bay. They'll contaminate our waters. They'll put our kids at risk for $1, okay? This quote, Holtec, a company with an extremely questionable history and extremely questionable present, as reflected in various misrepresentations alleged herein, that is from a lawsuit by the New Mexican Attorney General against the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in naming Holtec for misrepresentation and illegal activities. So what they're doing is not something new. It's what they do. It's part of their business plan. Okay? So it's cheaper for Holtec to violate the laws and pay a fine rather than implement an environmentally responsible plan.
In Holtec's own financial reporting, they estimated that after decommission is complete, that there will be approximately $250 million left in the trust fund. Holtec keeps that money as profit. In addition, they have already acknowledged intent to sue the U.S. Department of Energy for spent fuel storage costs.
When Pine Dubois, the vice chair, said, what about the spent fuel costs? We want to assure we have money for that. Clearly, that is true. However, that money for spent fuel management costs is reimbursed by the federal government, DOE, for not satisfying its agreement to take the waste in 1998. So in fact, Holtec is going to make out like a bandit with that money because they estimated the cost for spent fuel management will be about $500 million. They will get the reimbursement and can pocket that money. So add $500 million to the estimated leftover, and you get a very, I think, generous profit.
Disposal options that don't include dumping in the bay would cost Holtec around $20 million, estimates say, a cost that Holtec doesn't seem to want to take on.
I'm here because of the Minamata. And I think that a lot of you may not know who the Minamata are, but you're doing a good job at preventing being Minamata. The Minamata at the second half of the 20th century were fishing people off the coast of Japan who discovered that all of the birth defects and birth abnormalities were due to mercury poisoning that a large corporation was responsible for and knew that they were doing and knew that there would be deleterious effects, and they did it anyway. And that's why we're here. Tritium has a half-life of 12 and a half years. Tritium is dangerous for between 120 and 240 years. Tritium bioaccumulates. We know that the apex predators that you eat, like tuna, accumulate mercury. It's exactly the same process. Strontium that ends up in a fish, if you cook that fish and eat it, you end up with the strontium. And the huge problem that we face is that we have a National Academies of Science that determined 17 years ago, finally, that there's no safe level below which radiation is, it's not dangerous. But we have a Nuclear Regulatory Commission that refuses to take that understanding, that science, into account. So they're providing cover for a giant corporation to allow a giant corporation to dump radioactive water, they're saying in a low enough concentration that somehow that's not dangerous, when in fact, for hundreds and thousands of years after that dumping, these radionuclides are going to bioaccumulate up the food chain, where they will then become most dangerous to our childbearing age women and young children, because those parts of our population have the fastest dividing cells. That's what this is about. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for joining us this evening. If you have a story you'd like to see covered, send us an email at newstip@capemedia.org. Tune in next week for more hyperlocal news that matters on Channel 99, Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. For Cape Media News, I'm Mitch Suck.